Hey, howdy, how's it going? Helldivers 2 is a game that came out like not even 10 days ago. And I'm not gonna lie, this game is just so bad. It's not, I'm kidding. This game is actually really fun. I enjoy it a lot. Compared to a lot of the other games that I've been playing, this game is a nice, different change, I suppose. Now, this game is a looter shooter, which in comparison to another looter shooter that is out right now, you can tell that there's a slight difference on a company that makes it the right way and a company that makes it the wrong way. Yeah, Suicide Squad really sucks. Helldivers 2 is really fun. There's two factions that you're fighting, and, you know, it's everyone in a big community is having to work together, whether they believe it or not. The numbers aren't lying. If no one decides to do anything about specific factions trying to get to Super Earth, you could just lose, which is possible. But that's the thing. There's always the chance for an update that comes out for basically, you know, people not being attentive to this specific area or something along those lines, and that's awesome. The game being able to change because of your actual input is insane. There are a few, you know, nitpicks I have, which I will kind of discuss. But overall, this game is really good and has a lot of potential. For starters, on potential and, you know, kind of giving a little bit of praise here, everything that you can get right now in the game is essentially free. You can spend money if you want, and that's what I love, is that it's optional. You do not have to spend a dime if you don't want to, and that's completely okay because you can still earn it if you want to. In a way, Rainbow Six, you know, some other games do this, but games like Overwatch basically have completely ruined that. Overwatch 1 had loot boxes, so technically it was free, but you could pay for a ton of loot boxes if you wanted, but now with Overwatch 2, there's only a shop and then the battle pass. It's just really bad. But for this game right now, at least as of talking about it, there's a thing called super credits, which is basically, you know, like your V-Bucks. And you can get these through playing the game by looking around, looting. You can find super credits. I think it's like 15, 10, just a very small amount that you can find in these little, like, you know, minor interest areas, major interest. And I enjoy that. I like that you can find it, and it's not something that, you know, you just can only pay for. So all of the stuff in the shop is purchasable. And if you don't like it, you don't need to get it because it's mostly cosmetic, I believe. And guess what? Their system works perfectly because you can spend $2 worth of your actual money to get, you know, these super credits, or spend 20. There's no $100 bundle because that's really stupid. They have their own form of a battle pass, which basically allows them to have free shit, which a free battle pass is how this should work, where you actually are able to earn a lot of stuff. Granted, doesn't look as cool, but it's still pretty cool for someone just starting the game. So you can get a lot of things that are pretty interesting. You know, you can kind of look around, you see there's different suits, different styles, there's different guns that you can unlock. And then after every single, like, page is basically what they're called, you can get 100 super credits, which is awesome. You can just get it outright. V-Bucks are kind of like this in the battle pass for Fortnite, but you can only get about like 200 every like season, which is every couple months. So there are some people who are living out there, you know, knowing that they played in like the OG seasons, but they only got like the, I don't know, chapter or like season 6 battle pass. I don't fucking care, but that's sort of what they did. But for this game, you can get all of this version, which is the like basic tier of the battle pass. You can get all this for free without spending a dime, and use 1,000 of your credits to get the premium version. With what I can tell, the premium version is a little bit more expensive, but at the same time, you know, there's a lot more shit in there, and there's a lot more stuff that you can do with it. There isn't as many pages, but that's completely fine in my opinion, because it's not something that you really should be spending your money on, since you can get it for free. And if you really enjoy the game, then why not just not spend the money and just play and earn it yourself? They have it so that you basically design your own ship. You can add new parts to your ship by, you know, looting places and stuff like that. And one thing I do have to say is there's the system that they have sort of when it comes to adding these things to your base and, you know, things along those lines. I feel like, at least in my mind, it doesn't work the correct way, because getting these samples, which is what they're called, is really fucking difficult. You can get about like 3 or 4 depending on what type of mission you're doing, and you can get a lot more if you can complete the mission quickly and then go look around to loot instead of just extracting instantly. For a lot of these missions, you have about like 40 minutes to extract, which is good. And then after, you basically can earn all these things. You can see this one has a price of 60. So if I had 60, I can get this. It gives you an upgrade and it tells you which ones it affects. Then you can basically get more in that same field field, which is cool. And I believe that actually changes, you know, how your place looks, which is awesome. I like when games have that. You can actually see that you're making a difference within your own gameplay. And on top of that, you just have it just feels like you have a lot more control over what everything is. You can kind of, you know, you pick and choose what you want. You can change your outfit however you want, and that's awesome. I think everyone should be able to do that depending on whatever game you're playing, you know. But when you have this game, which allows you to get a ton of free stuff right now, and I'm not, you know, they could add a store later and have it where it's a lot more expensive or something along those lines, which in my opinion would be very bad. That's just not good for your community. But basically, if they go from that and, you know, having it where it's cheap to making it more expensive, won't be that good of an idea. But then, you know, there's always, you know, the question of like, is it, you know, pay to win or anything along those lines? No one wants that. So just don't do it. Just don't make it so that the store actually has expensive shit and has it where there's like, you know, weapons in there or something. Make it so that you can earn every weapon in the game. And I honestly wouldn't be surprised if they added more weapons in the future. One thing for me is that I've never played Helldivers 1. I have barely even seen gameplay of it, like at all. I've never really watched any of it. I didn't look at any guides for this game or anything. I've just been playing. I played with some friends, and it's been great. But one thing I do have to say is that when you're not playing with friends, this game is extremely hard. And the one thing that I do understand is that, you know, it's sort of like a gameplay design to basically only have the ability to play with friends, making it easier. So like playing solo is, you know, it's harder, obviously. But my thing is that maybe it's, you know, I haven't gotten all the, you know, armor or whatever. You know, I've seen that there's a shield that you can get around your character, but it's like certain things like this, I feel like, you know, they just need they need to kind of tweak it, and that's okay. And, you know, criticism like that, it happens. It happens for every game. When a game first comes out and it's a game that no one's ever seen before, there are going to be people saying their opinions about it, and that's completely okay. And if you guys in the comments want to say what you think about this game, I would absolutely love to read it, because this game is so much fun. And I want to see if anyone else is having just as much fun as I am. Obviously, the player count is showing that. The servers are taking a big old shit because they didn't expect that many people to really enjoy this game as much as they are. And, you know, on the topic of servers, this game will survive. I believe it will do fine throughout the, you know, the server maintenances and certain things like that. And they do compensate you by giving you more XP, which is a good way to work around that, in my opinion. Maybe, you know, adding a few super credits in there if they wanted to be very generous. But this game is $40. And for a lot of games, if it costs money to buy it, why are you not allowing them to earn everything within it? That's one thing that I like a lot about Helldivers, is that everything is free. I know I've already said this, but I'm just saying that again. Everything is free. So spending your $40 actually feels worth it because you're getting your money's worth. One thing as well when it comes to spawning in, at least, you know, the gameplay wise, is that this game, you know, just popping into my head. When you spawn in, you can die faster than it took you to spawn in, which, you know, I can understand. You know, it's war, you know, we're constantly sending people out there, you know, to, you know, soldiers, all that shit. But understand that, like, gameplay, aesthetic, gameplay wise, just give a little bit of immunity. I'm not saying that you should be able to survive like a nuke or something like that and land in a place, you know, cause a glitch or whatever. But like, you can already kill bosses by spawning in on them and crushing them. Just make it so that you, as soon as you spawn in, you can't immediately be sliced to death by these fuckers. Like all these guys, the, you know, the robots and the, you know, the bugs. Just, you know, make it so that there's a bit of a spawn immunity. That's all I have to say about that. Something that people do need to understand as well is that it's a very simple idea for a game of spawning in, you're helping a specific group, and you're just fighting shit. The thing is, though, that's very different that I've noticed in comparison to some games that have that repetitiveness, is that it's always different. Something that some people could say is repetitive would be like Batman Arkham video games and the fighting in that. Some people say it's very, you know, repetitive because all you're doing is pressing X and then Y over and over. That's not always the case. It depends on where you are. It depends on who you're fighting. Depends on how you want to fight them. Depends on what moves you have. Depends on, you know, what special abilities you can use. And that is kind of similar to this game. The environment can change a lot. Certain areas look very different. When you're fighting against automatrons, it looks like a place ran by robots. When you're fighting bugs, it looks like you're, you know, it feels like you're an alien or predator or something. You feel the vibe. And that's something that I think is done very well. One thing I do have as a complaint, though, for, you know, all of these areas is you getting slowed down. I understand Super Soldier, you're wearing a bunch of hunky metal, but like stepping, I understand the mud and stuff, you know, it is a design thing. It's not on accident, but like when you're playing, there's a lot of issues with playing solo, and that's something that I've noticed is that you just cannot run away. I'm someone who comes from playing a lot of, you know, Zombies or Call of Duty Zombies. I may blurt out that word. It has to do with, you know, Black Ops 1 and that first map of Nocturne Totem. You know what flags I'm talking about. But in reality, you know, I'm someone who's just used to having it a little bit easier, slightly, you know, going at my own pace. But overall, this game is really good. Like, no one, if you're complaining about it, just say that you don't enjoy that type of game. That is a major difference between saying it's not good. When you talk about a certain game in comparison, so like we say Helldivers in comparison to the Suicide Squad game that came out. Helldivers is $40 and it's 20 gigabytes and it runs very well. The worlds look amazing. The load times are perfect. Obviously it's on PS5 and it can be on PC. But comparing that to Suicide Squad, which it just, you know, the story isn't really that interesting or compelling after a while. It's kind of repetitive for the missions that you play. You can kind of, you know, you always can tell just the game. You can tell when it's a passion project more than a cash grab or, you know, cash cow. I don't know. They can't really beat that, I guess. And there are two last things that I have to say before, you know, I leave this video off and let you to your own opinions in the comment section. And that's PC. And I don't know if it's on console yet, but for PC, they have this, you know, Chinese anti-cheat or something along those lines that I've seen online that basically makes it run really bad. There's a couple avenues that you can go down. You know, there's the easy anti-cheat or whatever, not like Ricochet for Call of Duty, but the stuff that Fortnite uses, which is pretty good, doesn't really stop or affect the game that much. And then there's like Valorant's anti-cheat, which looks through your entire computer. Then there's like Ubisoft anti-cheat or QB or whatever it's called, where it like closes your game, reopens it, closes it, opens it, and stays on. There's a couple different ways that they can do it, I guess, but in my opinion, for this type of game, a game running well is better than, you know, cheaters. Just have a good anti-cheat. People cheating, just make it so that you can't get, like, you know, hacked. Like, your computer can't get hacked, but if your game gets hacked, just leave. That's fine. Like, they'll work through it. A report button is also possible to have out there, you know, manual bans, all that stuff. And the second thing is that, you know, the devs, Arrowhead, they're doubling down. They have announced and all these sorts of things of basically getting more people on, more employees, more people to, you know, that they're paying, and more people to just make shit for the game, and especially helping with the servers like side of stuff. And that's awesome. There are loads of companies right now, at least, that have this sort of issue where they're sort of cutting back on, you know, employees and stuff like that. Obviously, there's a bit of overlap in certain areas, whatever. I don't care what we're talking about here. But just understand that them beefing up is a good sign. That bodes well, okay? That they plan on making a lot of money for the, you know, the company as a whole and for this game. I'm very excited for it. It is something where, like, in comparison to a lot of games that have come out in the, like, year, and I'm not including, like, a game like Baldur's Gate 3, because for me, I just didn't particularly like it. This is my type of game. If Baldur's Gate 3 played like this, I'm not saying shooting and all that stuff, but kind of played like this, I would have probably liked it more, but, you know, we're not getting into that. If you like it, you like it. That's fine. It's just not my style of game. See how you can say it? You know, I can say that I didn't exactly like a game, but I'm not going to say it's dog shit. I know that the game was good. I just didn't like it. That's fine. But for this game, if you don't like it, comment that down below. I like it, so if you like it, you can also comment that down below. And if you have no, like, opinion to say, if you like it or dislike it, just let me know what you think of it. It may not be, you know, exactly 100% or 0, you know, not negative or positive. There's a little bit in between. If you're the in between, you can also say that as well. But yeah, that'll do it for this video. I don't know. I just really wanted to talk about this game because I'm going to end up making a video on it in the future with me playing with friends, because I've seen so many clips of it and I've already gotten a couple clips. You know, with the servers being an issue, I haven't really been able to play. But man, it's been fun, and I want to see this game do well in comparison, you know, games like Payday 3 or some shit. This game's really good. So yeah, as always, I hope you have a great day, night, weekend, weekday, a month, the whole rest of the year. I know that, you know, it's February, but whole rest of the year. I just hope it's great for you guys. Anyways, I'll see you. Peace.